It's like the director of this movie watched John Wick and a Tarantino movie, thought, ooh, I really want to make one of those, and learned all the wrong lessons from both of them, and then put it into 2 hours of time you're not getting back. There you go. That is my brief synopsis of Gunpowder Milkshake. Um, I
I kind of got John Wick vibes mixed with Major Dick Tracy vibes.
there's some Dick Tracy vibes. That one's a little too obscure for a lot of people to get, though. So I don't. This movie,
Well, if any of them are fans of Madonna's filmography, they'll get that, or they can look it up,
all three of you.
or look up, or they can look up Todd in the Shadows' episode of on it from his Cinna Madonna series.
I think we're just narrowing our niche down more and more here. Broadening it out. Not only have we narrowed down to Dick Tracy fans, which, okay, I guess those range in the dozens, to let's run down to people who know Dick Tracy and Madonna, which shrinks it even more. Granted, everyone knows who Madonna is, but both of those things seems kind of like a far-fetched idea. And then you combine that with Todd in the Shadows review, we've narrowed it down to 3 people.
Yeah,
I'm just fucking with you.
I'm sure I'm not the only person who subscribes to his channel.
I have no doubt of that. My point is those 3 very specific categories all meshed in a row really put you in a weird Venn diagram,
But yes, that was my immediate takeaway. It was over the top, ridiculous, camp, very nonsensical, a lot of stiff dialogue delivery. This is a ridiculous movie.
I also find this movie insufferable for the most part. Just unrelentingly obnoxious. So fucking full of itself and how clever it thinks it's being.
Was Cersei playing the mom?
Yes, that was Cersei.
Okay, I thought that sounded like her.
Yeah. And it's Christ almighty. This movie, for as stylized and over the top as it's trying to be, does not have a script that is anywhere near good enough to justify it. But it thinks it's so fucking good.
It is a bare bones skeletal script. I mean, if you like shoot 'em up movies that don't have much substance or make much sense, then you might get a few chuckles out of it. There were a few sequences that I was like, okay, it's just so preposterous.
But it couldn't pick a fucking tone. It's either like slapstick silly or like trying to play like dead serious badass John Wick style, particularly in the third act. And I for characters who are just bare bones, nothing to them. And this movie insists on their own importance.
You don't even know their last names.
No, there's like when one of them dies, I'm like, oh no, that one.
Yeah,
that person.
When I was watching it, I was all okay. So the one in pink is going to die.
Whoever the case may be, and again, the concepts themselves aren't necessarily bad. Like the concept of the library, where like these remember these like 3 women who have like guns and all the different like books and stuff like that. Like, okay, they're clearly trying to like do a riff on the Continental from John Wick. Cool, fine. It's an interesting concept. But then they start talking, and they won't stop talking in code. They're all like talking in this ridiculously over enunciation that just makes it like that just adds to the smugness of how like smart this movie thinks it's being. And those characters maintain that note the entire time. Like they never like tone it down or anything at all. They just maintain that the entire time to the point where they like literally say almost the exact same line right on top of each other. One was kind of chuckle-worthy, and then I was like, okay, so you just said the exact same fucking thing. One was just like, hey, dum-dums, bang, bang, bang. Okay, kind of funny. Next one, hey, idiots, catch this. Like, that she just fucking said that. So, I don't know. Sorry, go ahead. You were going to say something before I go on a tangent here.
I'm surprised with how much they over enunciated that we didn't see any bits of projectile spit come from their mouths when they were talking.
Oh god, it's not just them. Like fucking everybody in this movie is fucking obnoxious. Anyone in the goddamn hospital that shows up is like has really uncomfortable like close-up shots and all these like really over the top pronunciations. Like have like the Three Stooges of like shooters, which is clearly a deliberate decision, but the way it's executed, just like, oh my god, take a break, take a breath, for God's sake, stop for a minute and let it.
Who are all high on laughing gas.
I high on laughing gas, but it's just boom, boom, boom. There's no room to breathe in this thing. At least not until
I did like some of the fight choreography, and I aesthetically I enjoyed the choreography of the fight in the bowling alley in the first act.
See, I did not like the fight in the bowling alley. I liked every fight that came after that because that's when my opinion went from, okay, I don't really know where this is going, but like maybe it could still be good. And then that fight scene happened. I was like, nope. Because that was a case where I felt like none of these actions feel like they have any power behind them. It feels like everyone's being lightly bopped on the head and they're just yelling really loud. But it's all trying to make it like a smooth one shot, and the choreography just does not compete with that. In a realistic way.
I did appreciate the use of what was available in the environment.
And I did too. Like the ideas behind it aren't bad. It just none of the hits felt like they had any force behind it. At least not to warrant the reactions they got. Like she lightly bops one of them like with a panda suitcase, and he just goes "Whoa!" and like falls backwards. Like, dude, she bopped you. Chill.
True.
That's what I'm talking about. Like the choreography, like again, you do the exact same scene in a John Wick movie. I guarantee you can feel every one of those hits land. But in this case, like, it feels like everyone's kind of being slapped around, and they're just overreacting this reaction shot to it, and it just I don't know. That was just like, oh, this is really bad. And it's not like the choreography is bad or the cinematography is bad. It just the execution of those different elements just does not mesh. Actually, its afterwards are fine. That was really the only one I had a major issue with. And I feel like I shit all over you on that, so I apologize.
That's why it's not just you, so we can have possibly complementary or contrasting views.
Fair enough. I always feel bad whenever I feel like I accidentally jump down your throat on that. And I feel like every video we do, I always apologize at some point for doing that. Because there's a little voice in my head. I don't know if you have that one too, where you start going off on a little bit, and the brain goes like, "You're kind of being an ass right now. You might want to take it down a notch."
I usually try to hone that in before it comes out of my mouth.
Yeah,
unless I'm really angry about something.
That is an impulse you have that I do not share. Mine is more in retrospect. So, I mean this in all sincerity. Good for you for your restraint.
Thank you.
Anywho, but for some reason people think it's funny when I'm angry, so here we are. But
you are very animated.
Yes, like a Looney Tunes character.
A bit, yes.
The older I've gotten, the more I don't know if you ever had that when you were a kid. When you were younger, you just loved Bugs Bunny, but when you got older, you were related to Daffy more. That's where I feel like I've gone in my personal journey as an adult. But anywho,
is that a Space Jam 2 plug?
No, it's not. No, please don't remind me. I have to watch that still.
Sorry.
That is Monday's problem. But somehow I talked both Matt and Howard into seeing it, so that's gonna be a
yeah, I saw that. Very expertly done.
Thank you. So that'll be Monday's event. We're usually thinking about doing it tonight, but I've come down with a bit of a cold, so we're taking a couple days to make sure I don't like get everyone sick. It's like super not bad at all. So not like it's a big deal, but just enough. Like, I don't want anyone sick if I don't have to. But anyway, back to this movie.
Garlic.
Oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
Garlic.
Oh, just eat a shit ton of garlic.
It's good for your immune system.
I'll keep that in mind. But anyway, so for those who have no idea what the fuck we're talking about, I've not seen this movie. Gunpowder Milkshake is this movie that stars what's her name? Amy Pond.
I don't even know who. Oh, Karen Gillian?
Yes, Carrie Gillian. Is this the daughter?
I don't recognize her.
I'm kind of surprised.
This is probably the crappiest thing she's been in.
Well, debatable.
At least that I've seen.
Fair enough. Carrie Gillian is like this assassin who starts off as like neon noir style movie where all these kind of quirky like assassin places all hang out, and her mother is Cersei from Game of Thrones, but she abandons her at the beginning of the movie because of a hit that went wrong. So Paul Giamatti, who runs like this big crime corporation, takes her in and trains her to be a killer assassin. But then she does something stupid to go save a little girl, which causes Paul Giamatti to turn on her and call another guy whose son she killed to send an army of henchmen towards them. So she decides to go to a library, which turns like a front for like assassins, I guess, run by the aforementioned librarians. I would say, what do you call the library people? Librarians who recommend books to her. All the books have like weapons and shit inside, which again is a cool concept in theory. Execution is just fucking annoying.
There's some MacGuffin money involved in Act 1 to try to push things forward, but your plot synopsis is more succinct than anything I would have been able to list.
I'm just gonna get you the sheet so I can just rant about this fucking thing. So once that happens, more shenanigans happen, and with the little girl who, by the way, between this and Dave Bautista, she's working her way through the Guardians of the Galaxy.
He is, actually.
So I wish I could take credit for that joke. I saw it in a review, and so I was like, I'm going to steal it. But
fair game.
Just kind of decides randomly that she also wants to be an assassin. I was like, okay, I guess we're doing this now.
Well, it's either that or go into the system and be an orphan and possibly have a target on her head for the rest of her life.
She go to fucking therapy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that happens, and then she runs into her mom again, and they team up, and they do all like the, oh, how dare you leave me? Here's why I left you. We love each other again, yada yada. And the finale.
Where have you been for the last 15 years? Oh, I was trying to keep you safe.
Yada yada yada. And then like the climax happens, and they kind of shoehorn a feminist message in there, and that's the end of the fucking movie. There you go. I saved you 2 hours of your life.
Yes. That's it in a nutshell.
That's like again. I should just make a series of me lazily and angrily like summing up movies I don't like.
Isn't that what this show is?
Touche. But yeah, so again, in basic principle theory, none of what I just said sounds bad on its face, but when it actually happens. And everyone talks like they're in the fucking 40s and talks in this absurd, over-the-top code. And it's so smug and it's so smarmy and it thinks it's being so fucking clever that it's like, do you ever meet that obnoxious friend who just has their head all the way up their ass and they won't stop trying to remind you how smart they are? But not like in a here's a bunch of facts I know kind of way, so much as here I can be sarcastic douchebag to like annoy the crap out of you so you just don't call me out in my bullshit. That's this kind of movie.
Except that my experience with a former friend like that was that they didn't consciously do that behavior. They just had a tendency to talk themselves up and talk others down, which is why I'm not friends with that person anymore.
And that's probably for the best. And I like keep in mind for someone's like, aren't you like that? Yes, but I'm working on it. At least on camera. In real life, not so much. But anyway. What did you hate about this movie? I'm trying to figure what else to say at this point.
I wasn't a fan of the majority of the dialogue delivery. I thought it was stiff and unnatural and forced, or the dialogue itself for the most part. Uh, um, I didn't like that the plot was so bare bones and nonsensical, and we it's contingent on us, the audience, forming an attachment to these characters, but we don't get to know who these characters are. Just that this is what is happening, this is what you're watching, this is what they're doing. Don't ask why, just accept it. So if you're into a shoot 'em up suspension of disbelief with clunky dialogue, then it's harmless, but I'm not going to recommend it.
I mean, yeah, it's harmless. It's just really fucking annoying. And I guess that's why it elicits such a like a visceral reaction out of me, because like, God, I hate all these people. I can't stand the way they talk. I hate them so deeply.
I thought Michelle Yeoh looked gorgeous on camera. She plays one of the librarians. It's always fun to see her kick ass, and she hasn't aged a day practically.
And like, none of this is the actor's fault. I will fully give them that. Like, they're all doing what they were directed to do.
Exactly.
But I also know each and every one of them is above this material.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
And you can tell this was pitched as like a John Wick meets Dick Tracy meets Quentin Tarantino style movie. It's going to be really stylized. This is going to be my breakout movie. It's going to be so clever. It's going to be a cult classic, and you're all going to be part of it. Are you in? And I'm willing to bet that's how they talked every single one of these people into doing this. Even as the movie relies on lazier and lazier tropes as the film goes on. Like in the third act, if you had a drinking game for how many slow-mo shots the movie has in the third act, you would die.
That is true. Yes, it does rely very heavily on slow-mo and soundtracks. And you know me, I love music. I'm all about effective song choices in film. The song choices here, much like the script and the direction and the dialogue delivery, all feel very forced and
none of the music choices matched what was happening on screen. It felt very out of place. Again, like I said before, it felt like this director, and I looked up his filmography. He hasn't done much. I think it's like his first film in like 6 years. But like in other ways, we're the most critically well received either.
Sounds like he has some ring rust to polish off.
So it's more like it's like a director trying to find his voice by mimicking other people's voices. So there's like Dick Tracy. There's a little Zack Snyder in there. There's a lot of Quentin Tarantino. And I feel really bad that I don't remember who directed John Wick, but there's a lot of that director in there. And all these different voices, but all just like don't like, it's like picking up the worst lessons and the worst tendencies from your favorite directors and and trying to mimic what they're doing without understanding even a little bit of how and why it works.
Much of Tarantino's movies work because of the dialogue, and even some of the ones with the thinner plots have dialogue to carry it through and have various metaphors and running gags throughout.
Because Tarantino knows how to layer his work.
Exactly. This director does not. this script does not have that kind of depth or layering. It needed like 4 more drafts at least.
And like, look, at the same time, like, I get that impulse, right? Because God knows this whole channel started with me shamelessly ripping off other creators. Like, fully acknowledge that. I will absolutely own that hypocrisy. However, what you do is you grow and you learn, you find your own voice in there. So maybe this director would do the same thing too. That being said, this guy's been in the business for almost a decade, and just based on this, it doesn't look like he's learned much. So at the same
Not
time,
yet.
like, I don't know how much hope there is for this poor man or woman. I don't actually know. But God, I hope they do better than this. I hope they learn something from this, as opposed to the already worst lessons he's learned. And the takeaway isn't, oh, they just don't appreciate my art, which is always the worst way to go. And I've met directors like that. I have worked with directors like that. And they are the worst kind of people.
I'm sorry. You saying that reminded me of that scene from The Boys where the drama teacher snorts cocaine and says, "My masterpiece."
I hate The Boys of the Burning Passion. 2, I've met that guy, not the actor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I know a director who was exactly like that. Who we were named nameless because I don't want to get in legal trouble. But anyway, fuck this movie. This isn't the worst movie I've seen all year. Like, not by a long shot, but it was particularly irritating.
Is it worse than Sia's music?
No, nothing's gonna be worse than Sia's music this year. To compare this to Sia's music is, I'm gonna borrow a no, that's too rough. It's like comparing I don't know, what's a really bad movie?
I really hated Spawn when I was a kid.
Okay, it's like comparing Spawn to a minstrel show. That's what it means to compare any of these kind of shitty movies to Sia's music, because Sia's music is blackface for autistic people. That's how bad it is.
Got it.
Like, that was a case where me and Muha went into that having the lowest expectations possible. Like, we thought, like, this like, we know it's going to be bad. We know it's going to be offensive. We know it's going to be, like, reprehensible in its execution. And within the first 5 seconds, our expectations were apparently too high.
Oh, wow. So,
but anyway.
I guess this movie is a slightly shinier turd.
It is, like, I would say, like, I would put what was that other one that I hated that you liked a little more than I did?
Woman in the Window?
Woman in the Window. I put that below this. For me personally.
Fair enough.
Like, I would say, like, that'd be like, I assume you put Monday below this too, for similar reasons.
Yeah, I'd put Woman in the Window just a smidge higher than this, but this is definitely above Monday for me. This didn't piss me off as much as Monday did.
So there's a fair equivalency to put that in perspective. But yeah, right off the bat, it's gonna take something of monumental horribleness for Sia's music not to be number one and the worst year this year. Just calling it right now. Like,
all right,
nothing's gonna top it. If it does, I will be shocked.
And I don't really have anything else to say about this movie. It's campy. It's completely ridiculous. It's nonsensical. It's a bare bones script. It is forced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I always like seeing Michelle Yeoh, and I liked some of the fight choreography more than you did, but that's about all I can say that is positive.
Yeah, this movie sucks. So yeah, I think we're still kind of in catch-up mode. I think me and Muha are gonna hang out tomorrow. We're gonna watch well, you already saw Forever Purge, which is leaving theaters. We both saw it, so now we're gonna talk about it. And the Nicolas Cage movie Pig is out right now too, and I want to see that. So
I keep hearing about that. I have no idea what it's about.
basically, Nicolas Cage is this kind of weird homeless man and lives in the forest who has a pig as a pet, and then the pig gets taken, and he goes on a mission to revenge. That's all you really need to know.
Okay, got it.
But it looks actually pretty good, so I'm excited for that. Then, of course, Space Jam 2, which will be seen at some point in the near future, probably on Monday.
I didn't want to touch that one with the 10-foot pole because I can't get over the mean-spirited, unnecessary nature of the inciting incident for that one of, oh, I'm gonna kidnap your child and make you play basketball. It's just so icky. So no.
I can see that. That's fair. So that and a bunch of other shit I'm sure I gotta catch up on. So we're making our way through. We'll get it done. So at the same time, we'll get to as many as we possibly can. In the meantime, thank you guys for watching. See y'all later.